Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our Saturday night meditation, Psychic Horizon Center. Mary is off tonight. I'm Debbie Stillman. I'm excited to be with you this evening, and will do my best to carry on without her. So everybody just have a couple of nice deep breaths. Get very comfy in your space. Allow yourself to relax. And to just be present in the moment. You can just let go of anything you're doing before now. Release any thoughts about what you intend to do after this hour is up. And just allow yourself to be present in this moment, in these moments. You're showing up for yourself, giving yourself a little space, a little communication. And some nice release. And so let's start out by creating a connection to Mother Earth. Many of you have done this before, but no worries if you haven't. Just like you to find that place at the base of your spine. You kind of use your mind's eye to look down your spine to the base, find that location. And then just continue looking down past that spot at the base of your spine, all the way down to the center of the earth. And make a connection from that place at the base of your spine to that place at the center of the earth. It can be any kind of connection that you'd like. It might be a beam of light, or a waterfall, or a tube, or a pipe. Whatever it looks like to you, or whatever you want to create it to be, will be great. Allow this connection from you to the center of the earth to expand. And so it's as big around as your hips. As you're sitting there in this moment, just allowing it to be as big around as your hips. And allow yourself to release any energy from the day. Any hectic energy, any frustration, any impatience, anything that just doesn't feel good in your space. Just allow it to go down this grounding cord, down this connection between you and Mother Earth. And just allow yourself to release it. Sometimes we store some anxiety or frustrations or angers or whatever, kind of in the physical body, kind of in the muscles. You've all felt it in your neck or shoulders or hips, wherever it is that you carry stress. And just take this moment and allow it to be released. Just allow your body to let it go. Sometimes we get some information that says that we have to hang on to it for one reason or another, but we don't. We have the opportunity to let it go. And anybody else's energy that may be kind of around you or bugging you or maybe causing static in your space, just allow it to be released as well. Whether it's your mom or your kids or your partner, your friend, your boss, doesn't even matter. Just allow it to go down your grounding cord. Allow it to be released from any place it might be stored in your physical body. And then notice that energy field that surrounds your physical body, that aura space. And allow that aura space to also be grounded. Just having the thought that you will have it be grounded in as part of your grounding cord is all you need to do. And anything that's in this space, any energy in this space that does not belong to you, you can just let it go down the grounding cord. Just as simple as that. And have another nice deep breath. Just being really relaxed. Allowing all your muscles to relax. Allowing your face to relax. Just really giving up all the stress and the tensions. At least for the next few minutes. You can always call them back if you want them back later. Don't ever have to worry about them escaping forever. So I know Mary's been doing this series on living open-heartedly. And so we'll play with that a little more this evening. I'd like you to see yourself playing and having fun. You're skipping around. Maybe you're playing jump rope. But it's very light and it's very easy and it's very fun. like when you were 5, maybe. When we were 5, we didn't have like Charlie horses and sore muscles and all that kind of stuff. And so just see yourself as that little child just playing, having fun, skipping around, enjoying the day. Not a care in the world. Sky is blue, it's not too hot. Notice the lightheartedness and the ease with which you have fun. And now I'd like you, as you're jumping rope, skipping around, playing, having fun, maybe riding a bicycle, whatever it is, I would like you to pick up a chair and continue that same activity. So now you're holding a chair and you're jumping rope or riding a bike or racing around. But it's a little harder now. It's a little less lighthearted, a little less abandoned. This chair represents pain. Pain that we carry around in our space. And like this chair slows you down, changes the activity, causes you to do things a little differently than you did without it. So does that pain. It keeps you from being completely open-hearted. It adds some weight. It takes away some of the lightness. Have a nice deep breath. Notice which is more fun. With or without the chair. I know the version I think is more fun. So remembering that that pain or that chair represents pain, what is it that says that you have to carry that chair forever? What is it that says that you can't release that pain? Who loses if you get rid of the chair? Certainly not you. What pain are you protecting? Have a nice deep breath. And just take a minute to allow whatever's come up in your space as we talk, as I talk, to go down your grounding cord. Just allow it to be released. If you can, grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. I'm sorry, I didn't think to mention it right at the beginning. And you can jot down a few things here. Who loses if you get rid of the chair? Who loses if you release the pain? And I'd like you to look at your childhood and write down some pain moments from your childhood. What were you trying to get? When the response caused pain? Who are you still asking for it? That initial thing that you were asking for when you got a response that caused some pain. Who are you still asking for that same thing? And if the person that you're asking for that from can't give it to you, who can? Have another nice deep breath. I'd like you to put yourself in the frame of mind. I'd like you to see you, be you, when you were somewhere between 4 and 8 years old. And from your 4 to 8-year-old self, what is your perspective now? If you look at those questions, what were you trying to get? Who were you asking for it? What does it look like now from your 4 or 5 or 8-year-old perspective? And what ideas or what concepts did you create about reality out of that life experience? From that interaction that caused you pain, what concepts did you create from that experience? I'd like you to create a gauge. See a gauge out in front of you, something that goes from 0 to 100. It can look like a thermometer or a speedometer, a meter, whatever comes easily to mind is great. And looking at your heart with your mind's eye, I'd like you to have that gauge show you what percentage of the original pain is still there. If we have an experience that transpires in a certain way, one of the concepts or ideas we might develop is that experience always will transpire in that same way. For example, if I touch the hot stove and I get burned, I could think that anytime I touch the stove, I would get burned. But the truth is, I only get burned if it's on and hot. Okay? But I could create the experience that I would always get hurt when I touched the stove. That could be my experience. I could create that from that initial experience. Let that gauge go back to 0. Notice what that number is. Notice how much of that original pain is still in the heart. And then let that gauge fall back to 0. And let that gauge show you how much pain has been added to that as a consequence of that initial pain. Kind of that domino effect. Interesting, right? We sometimes, maybe even often, maybe even most of the time, discover that we add on at least as much pain as the original injury. Kind of pile it on and pile it on. You can just notice the number on that gauge, and then you can just let that gauge go. You can blow it up, you can drop it down your grounding cord, whatever you'd like. And then I'd like you to notice what barriers did you create in your last lifetime? What barriers did you create in your last lifetime? And how do they compare to this one? You may have had similar experiences in the last lifetime that you've had in this lifetime. Often one chapter or one lifetime isn't enough for us to learn what we're intended to learn. And so just notice the similarities without judgment, with just curiosity. Oh, look. One way to respond is with love. whatever the pain that you've discovered, whatever you noticed about it in comparison to your last lifetime, you can respond to yourself with love. And you might say, well, I did the same exact thing last lifetime. Okay, so what? Give yourself love. You experienced some pain. You were looking for something, some support, some emotional response. And that's not what you got if you go back to that original pain. But it's okay, because here you are, and you can love yourself. You can respond to that pain with love. If you've discovered that you did the same thing last lifetime, well, give yourself twice as much love. The answer is never harshness or judgment. It's always love. I'd like you to create what we call at the center a mock-up. We create our world. We create our interactions all the time. And a mock-up is a way to ask the universe to help us create something. We're quite good at creating, although we do a lot of it unconsciously, which is why we can be pretty surprised at some of the things that we find, some of the experiences we have in life. So to create this mock-up, I know some of you have done this before, but if you haven't, no worries. We're going to do it right now. I'd like you to put out in front of you a bubble, a nice little soap bubble, maybe 10 inches or so. And how would you like to respond? How would you like to create? What would you like to create for yourself? You could put some havingness in this bubble, in this mock-up bubble, allowing yourself to have love, allowing yourself to be pain-free, allowing yourself to respond with love. And so in this mock-up, put the energies that you would like to create in your life going forward. Self-love, fun, Think back in the beginning where you were skipping and jumping and playing. It was very light and fun energy. Could bring some of that back into that, bring some of that into that mock-up bubble to have for yourself. You may not express it as running out and playing jump rope, and that's okay. But you can have that same experience of lightness and joy, of being open-hearted. Take a look at that mock-up bubble and see if it's got everything in it you would like. One thing you might put in your mock-up is just a reminder that you know how to do this, that you know how to create, that you can create these times of joy for yourself. And with this mock-up bubble, we're going to send it off to the universe so that it can manifest, help manifest, and come back to you in the physical. So you can release it a number of different ways. If you would like to just let it go, you can let it drift off to the universe. One of the things I like is to flatten it out into a boomerang, throw it out to the universe to manifest. Because the boomerang always comes back, right? So it's just a fun little. Release those mock-ups out into the sky, out to the universe. And I'd like you to notice, I'd like you to put a big golden sun over your head. And call into that sun love. Just love, nothing else. Unconditional. The love of the source. Your own love for you. Just love. You can pop that golden sun and allow that love to flow into your body through the top of your head. Filling your entire body in with this love, just unconditional love. It's what the universe is made of. And just have some for yourself. Allow it to expand out into that energetic field that surrounds you, out into that aura space that surrounds you. Allow it to flow in every single cell in your physical body. Really taking it in, drinking it in. And as you do that, I'd like you to notice if you're tired of carrying around that chariot. And if you notice that you're tired of that, just set it down. Just let it go. Allow yourself to release it. Have a nice deep breath. If you still have that piece of paper and pen around, I'd like you to write down a couple things. Here's some great words. You're going to love them. Write these down. Should. You can make columns. Ought. O-U-G-H-T. Ought. I'm sure you've never heard it like yacht to. Must. M-U-S-T. Must. Have to. Have to. And the last one is need to. Do you have all those written down on that piece of paper? Now you could burn that piece of paper. And I understand you may not be in a place where you could set it on fire on this moment, and that's fine. You can tear it up. You can watch it burn in your mind's eye. Whatever works. Allow those words to just energetically fall down your grounding cord. You don't need them. And with that, you begin to create a space for yourself of allowing. Releasing those words or those concepts so that you can create from the space of desire. Desire is one of the most powerful energies in our universe. It's not need, it's not want, insofar as I guess want is different than desire. It's desire. Have another nice deep breath and just again, kind of kicking back in your space, being relaxed. It's a moment to celebrate you. To celebrate you and the power of forgiveness. Looking out at the world with innocence on all. If you go back to the perspective of being a 4 or 5 or 8-year-old, everyone's innocent, most of all you. It was easy to see it then. It was intuitive, kind of instinctual. And allowing yourself to be in that space again of acceptance and innocence. As you forgive, you release all the judgments that you've been projecting on them with your thoughts. As you release all the judgments you've been projecting, the opposite of judgment is forgiveness. Judgment creates separation and guilt. Create another bubble out in front of you, similar to that little soap bubble we did last time for the mock-ups. And put a person in that bubble, somebody that you have a little difficulty with, somebody maybe you have some judgments about. Perhaps somebody that you have a difficult relationship with. Just put that person in that bubble. And as you release down your grounding cord, as you release the judgments, notice what changes in the bubble. Just continue to release judgment, release pain. In a way, we don't really care where it came from. We just like to let it go, be done with it, be past it. And as you do that, keep watching the person in that bubble in front of you. Keep releasing until you find the innocence, that person's innocence. When we judge, we move out of innocence and we quit seeing the innocence in others. We give up our own as well. We've all been touched by the poison of judgment. We believe so strongly that we can't forgive ourselves. But forgiveness is our most important key. It opens all the doors. And just notice what's shifted in that bubble, that person in the bubble in front of you. Doesn't have to be perfect. None of us are. If it's not perfect, forgive yourself for that. You can go ahead and blow up that bubble. And I'd like you to put another big golden sun over your head. Big, giant sun, twice the size of your body. And again, calling into that golden sun love, unconditional love. Just calling it all into that golden sun. If we have unconditional love for ourselves, we will have unconditional love for everyone and everything on the planet. When we can love ourselves without judgment and without reservation, then loving others is just natural. You can pop that golden sun and just allow that love, that unconditional love, to pour into your body. All the way down to the tip of your toes. All the way down to the tips of your fingers, allowing every single cell in your body to fill in with unconditional love. Allowing every space in your body to be filled in with unconditional love. Allow your body to be filled in with unconditional love on that molecular level between the cells. Allow it to fill in that entire energetic space that surrounds your body. Filling that entire space in with unconditional love. So that nothing else exists in your universe in this moment except that experience of unconditional love. It allows us to feel whole and holy and connected. We begin to have a sense of how we're all one. about how bringing harm to my sister or brother brings harm only to myself, as we are all one. After you've completely filled in with that unconditional love, you can do whatever you want. You can open your eyes and stretch. You can absolutely stay in that space and not move. You can pretend this went on longer than it was supposed to if you don't want anyone to bother you. You just have all kinds of options. Just create whatever you want to create from desire. I thank you all for being here tonight. It was just lovely to have you here. Thank you on behalf of Psychic Horizon Center and the Church of Inner Light.